What's up, kid folks? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Like today, where OU beat Baylor 66. Man, sinuses. 66-33. Huge day for Kyler Murray. 432 yards passing on 21 attempts. 17 to 21 passing, which is ridiculous. At one point, he was 14 to 17, and like, two of those were drops, and one of those was just stupid. But be that as it may, right? Kyler Murray had an outstanding day. Kennedy Brooks came on late, making an argument for himself being the feature back going forward. 8 carries, 107 yards. You could say garbage time, but I look at numbers and I like the stats. Caleb Kelly just giving everybody a what's going on with him coming on the field after Brian Meade came onto the field first, which was a bigger story to me. Something that's going to get sorted out, I'm sure. And also the defense. Defense ain't very good. 400 yards passing. You know, this is and 33 points to a team that Kansas held to 26. But all of these things are things that we're going to talk about, that we're going to go through. And right now, I'm about to go through the chat. So if you're in here, say what's up, and I will shout you out. Man, that was a rough opening. See who's here. What we got? Robert Lane, what's good? Preston Woods in the house. Daniel Bailey, what's good? Raw Materials in here. Matthew Walker, what's good? Stephen Gordon, I see you, fam. Sooner Slim, what's good? Who else we got in here? I'm going to keep scrolling, man. GD, what's good? Stuart Yamashita, I see you, fam. Daniel Bailey, yep, saw you. Matthew Walker, what's good? John, what's good? Steelguard, I see you, fam. Cole George in here. Medical Links, what's good, fam? Willie Ricks in the house. Laura, what's good? It's me, Wolfie. What's up, Wolfie? Trenton, I see you, fam. Greg Tate's in here. Mike McCoy. James K. Hilton. Ryan Morewood. Trenton, Trenton, I got you. Joshua, what's good? Nate, I see you. Chase, what's good? Generous Ginger. Aldo Waters, what's good, fam? Classic Sports in here. Stephen Gordon, fam. What's good? Andres Davis. Tennessee Sooner. Michael M, what's good? And I'm sure Laurel and my mother will show up later, because they always do. Let's see. Lots of boomers. And Shane, what's good, fam? Manny Bratcher, how you doing? Rudy Lopez, what's good? There she is. Hey, Terry, what's up, Laurel? Mwah. To Laurel, not Terry. Terry understands. What else we got in here? Jasper Mills, what's good? Big Okie, I see you, fam. Jeff Kirkland, what's good? Oren Stewart, what's good? Got. All right, so first talking point. Kyler Murray is amazing. And we say this every single week, it seems, right? And I'm not going to get tired of saying it because the guy's only playing one season of college football. But backstory. For those of you who don't know, Kyler Murray was told that he was not going to start because he arrived late to practice. This is a story that myself and Brandon Drum over at 24/7 Sports had reported earlier last night saying, hey, it's not that big a deal. He may not even sit longer than a couple series. He ended up sending exactly one series. But it got to be really funny on Twitter this morning when Austin Kendall's mom tweets out that her son is getting his first collegiate start today, breaking the news on Twitter. So if you didn't have a subscription to 247, this was news to you, right? And then we had this hilarity ensue where we had news stories going up about Austin Kendall getting the start according to his mom. And there was mass hysteria among Sooners fans because a lot of folks were like, why isn't Kyler starting? What's going on? Is he hurt? Is he ineligible? What's going on? And it was minor, I even think in the post-game press conference, he's like, yeah, I set my alarm clock wrong. I arrived to practice late. I'm paying the consequences. And, maybe the greatest off-the-bench performance ever. 432 yards passing, 7 total TDs, 17 to 21 passing. The offense looked great with respect to the run game in the first half, basically through the first 3 quarters of the game. That's a question mark that needs to get sorted out because I've been willing to let it go here the last couple of games. But Trey Sermon might not be the guy. It might be Kennedy Brooks. TJ Pledger got some run early, and then we didn't see him late. Didn't see any Marcellus Sutton again, right? The defense isn't bad. The defense just isn't good, and I think that's what makes it really frustrating. But let's see. Oh, Tim Bailey, what's good, fam? Excuse me, still working on a cold. Some good and some bad for the OU defense today. Per play, Oklahoma gave up 4.9 yards per play. Yep. That is elite defense in that particular stat. 400 yards passing on 60 attempts is only 6.6. Maybe, but when you got a lots of opportunities, geez. However, bad tackling, bad penalties, and third down defense was atrocious. Another nice day for Run D, holding Baylor to 2 yards per carry. Less than 100 yards on the ground. Some positives, some negatives. Got to get more turnovers. I like that. I like that, Tim, and I'll address it here in a bit. Wolfie, why is the defensive staff so averse to rotating fresh bodies on the defensive line before the game is out of hand? Number one, you were without Kenneth Mann all day, right? Number two, I think Ruffin and Thibodeau only trust a few guys. That's an issue unto itself, right? And I think you can make that argument for everybody in every unit, with the linebackers and with the secondary, because a lot of folks are going, "Where's Justin Broyles? Why are we still seeing a lot of Khalil Haughton?" And even Robert Barnes, when he got in there, got his grits cooked by Chris Platt on an incompletion. Just didn't look very good. But to Tim's point, what he's describing to me is what most people are calling good defense in the Big 12. I don't accept that, because I watched those guys have opportunities to shut people down on third down. I watched them have opportunities to pick off passes and create turnovers. I didn't see any tackles for loss that weren't sacks. That's a big one for me. The run D, as good as it was according to the stats, right, about 2 yards per carry, you're not getting penetration. They're getting past the defensive line, and then you got Kenneth Murray Jr. or Curtis Bolton or Caleb Kelly coming downhill. Mark Jackson was in on that too. So I guess, right, if that's what you want to say is good defense in the Big 12, fine. It's not what I say is good defense in the Big 12, because it's not good defense, period. Like I'd said before the game started, that there were 3 criteria that I needed to see from Oklahoma to say that it's a better defense than the one that we saw last year. One of them was hold Baylor to 21 points or fewer. Didn't do that. Another one was hold Baylor to under 400 yards of total offense. Certainly didn't do that. Another one was create 3 turnovers by the defense, and didn't do that. It's the same defense that we've seen, right? So, I mean, it depends on how you feel about what's good defense and what's not. Pete Allen, the defense played a ton of plays last 2 games. Will this hurt them against Texas? Maybe, right? Maybe. I'm not so sure that Texas can run the ball outside of Sam Ehlinger, but Colin Johnson can play, right? And they have their first 4-game win streak since 2013. They're feeling real good about themselves. The Texas fans in Manhattan today were chanting "Beat OU," so the Red River Rivalry matters for the first time in a very long time. Both teams are going to be ranked. Depending on what goes on with the rankings, you can make an argument that Texas moves up into the top 10, especially if Ohio State thumps Penn State tonight. So there's a lot of moving and shaking that could be done. So I'm excited about the Red River Rivalry this weekend. I mean, I got all my horns down gear ready to go. I've been waiting on this game for like a full year, because a lot of folks that actually watch this channel and participate in the chat are Texas fans, just like Georgia fans. So it's going to be a fun week. CD's catch late, which went like 86 yards, which is career long. I get why everybody's excited about that. It's a screen pass that went all the way, kind of like Hollywood Brown's screen pass. But the catch that he made in the first quarter, the one where he just kind of palmed the ball and then brought it back down to himself, my tweet was, CD's hands are patent pending, because that was just ridiculous. I mean, there's some folks out there that want to change his name to CD's hands, and like these nuts, these hands, like I giggled. I'm for it. But also, that's just the kind of day that the receivers in general were having. Hollywood Brown had over 100 yards receiving. CD had over 100 yards receiving. Lee Morris had 3 catches for 61 yards. 2 of them were touchdown passes. Only guy that didn't really have a good day was Grant Calcaterra. And I understand, it's been a rough year for him so far. But both of the drops were him hearing footsteps. And that's unacceptable to me. You're a tight end. You do run across the middle. That's what you do. Secure the catch. You're going to get hit. Get up, go after it. And I don't, but perhaps it's more than that. But watching the game, watching it close, you could see Grant Calcaterra knew he was going to get hit and just didn't secure the catch. Excuse me. What else we got in here? SBC Bates. Does anyone besides me find it ironic that Big Canada got called for roughing the passer and Caleb Kelly almost ended his life with legal? Not ironic. And honestly, I'm not sold on Caleb Kelly doing whatever he was doing today. I understand the sack. It was a good hit. He had a couple tackles, like 3 or 4 actually. But what's going on, man? Are you redshirting or not? Were you waiting on Curtis Bolton to leave the game with what we think is an injury because he didn't return? Like, what's with the games there, man? I thought he was redshirting, and now he's not redshirting. Also, there is no Levi Draper on the field, right? Which is a question that is going to keep getting asked by a lot of folks because Levi Draper can absolutely play. And you're going to have to answer that question when Brian Meade comes in ahead of Levi Draper, right? And comes in ahead of Caleb Kelly. So that was why I was wondering what the head games were for, because I have more questions about Caleb Kelly entering the game behind Brian Meade, right? Because I could let it go in my thought process for they got this thing in place where if he gets hurt or Curtis gets hurt, they're gonna send in Caleb Kelly. But if that's not the case, that's 2 back-to-back games, or not back-to-back, 2 out of the last 3 games we've seen Brian Meade come in for Curtis Bolton and not Caleb Kelly, and Caleb Kelly set out the last 2 games, right? So he's played in 3 games, still got 1 more game he can play in before he redshirts. So that's a very interesting storyline that we'll all be watching to see how that works out. GD, I've been sick all week, man. I've been sick since last Sunday. But, videos every day. And we live stream after the game. So I'm here, working through it. We got to play hurt. I'm not really hurt. I just, sinuses and sinus headache. Let's see. Daniel, does Hollywood enter the draft next year? Yeah. Why wouldn't he? He's a sleeper pick for the first round. Plus, the person that you should be worried about entering the draft is CeeDee Lamb, and he's a true sophomore, so you got him for at least 1 more year. But that kid is shaping up to be a first-round draft pick at wide receiver. Can absolutely play ball. Let's see, what else we got in here? Chase Schubert. When you realize that Bobby Evans Jr., Lee Morris, and Kyler Murray all played at the same high school together, you realize why they never lost a game. Well, to add to that, EJ Ndomo and Theo Weiss are coming from Allen, Texas next year. We all know what kind of powerhouse Allen, Texas is, but in particular, they're being really good to the Sooners here of late, right? With Kyler Murray and Lee Morris and Bobby Evans, and now the number 1 wide receiver in the country, and Theo Weiss, the 5-star kid. EJ Ndomo, absolutely my favorite of the 2019 class. Just a cool dude. Allen, Texas puts out some players, absolutely. What else we got? Jake, what's the deal? Not just CK or Draper, but why is Perkins coming off the field? Same for Brown and Mann. Mann was hurt, number 1. And you're talking about Brown. What Brown? Trey Brown? Trey Brown's coming off the field because they always rotate 3 corners. Like, it'll be him, and it'll be Trey Norwood, and it'll be Parnell Motley. That's just what they do. I mean, that's not new. They've always tried to rotate 3 corners out there. And you can't play them every single snap the way you want to, especially a guy like Ronnie Perkins, right? Because that's a big man. You're asking to do a lot of work. That's the reason why Tyrese Lott getting back is a big deal. You need to be able to rotate the kids in. And just because they're your best players doesn't mean that you can leave them on the field. I mean, think about what happened to Obo last year because they wouldn't rotate people in. He was exhausted. And they're trying to limit that. I understand that. That I don't have a problem with. I have a problem with not stopping people on 3rd down. I have a problem with giving up 33 points to a Baylor team that was held to 26 by Kansas. I got a problem with giving up 400 yards passing to Charlie Brewer. I don't have a problem with rotating your defense around, right? I mean, I just don't. What else we got in here? Yeah, Mucinex does not kill the germs, man. Mucinex just clears out my nostrils. The germ stays there, and I still cough. But I appreciate the heads up. Johnny Brown, do you think the defense is just tired because the offense scores so fast? No, because the defense could just go out there and get 3 and outs, and then they would put it back on the offense. That one doesn't wash with me. Robert Lane, cruise time, RJ. Thought our pressures were great. Well, I think that's also a good point, right? We watched Mike Stoops dial up a few pressures that worked, especially on passing downs, on 3rd down, right? And I think there were 6 sacks today. 6 sacks, right? I want to say 6 sacks by like 5 players. Matter of fact, let's check that out because I'm tired of being wrong about that. There were 6 sacks by 4 players, right? You had a sack from Kenneth Murray Jr. You had 2 sacks from Caleb Kelly. You had 2 sacks from Ronnie Perkins. And you had a sack from Mark Jackson, right? Also begs the question, what is it that Caleb Kelly continues to do wrong? Because there's an argument to be made that Caleb Kelly is the most talented pure athlete on the depth chart at any linebacker position. I would even say that he could challenge, or Ryan Jones could challenge him for that title right now, because I think that Ryan Jones is just a super athlete, and I can't wait to see him mature into an every down kind of player. But Caleb Kelly is the 5-star talent from Fresno. And we all know how everybody feels about the Fresno pipeline. We all know how people felt about Caleb Kelly when he decided to commit here and come play football. That said, that Curtis Bolton could beat him out for a job that everybody penciled him in for. What's going on with Caleb Kelly's head at this point? That's a question that needs to be asked, and I need an answer. Because I've seen the kid not play well. I've seen the kid play well like today, but I've also seen him say, I'm going to redshirt because why? Because Curtis Bolton beat you out for a job? Or because you're going to transfer? I mean, just pick one. You either want to be all in or you don't want to be all in. And I get it, right? Kelly Bryant today, his decision kind of came back to haunt Clemson. Now they got out of it with a win. But you could easily see how they would have loved to have Kelly Bryant, there in case what happened to Trevor Lawrence, gets concussion, goes into concussion protocol, happen. And I wonder what the conversations are like with Caleb Kelly. And I understand Lincoln's trying to do the right thing by saying the kid has a say. All right, so what's he said? Is he redshirting or is he not redshirting? Because this is 3 games now. He's got 1 more to play. And after he plays that 4th game, all bets are off. Speaking of which, Buki's red shirt's gone. TJ Pledger's red shirt's gone. Ronnie Perkins' red shirt's gone. But we already knew that for the most part, right? We all could have assumed that going in. I actually wrote a story about it on Insider saying just that. Now let me get to this question right quick. What was this question? Kelvin Hicks. What's good, Kelvin? Kelvin Hicks is the father of 2019 defensive end commit Marcus Hicks, best player in the state of Kansas. Does the speed at which the offense scores have a major impact on the amount of points the defense gives up? We put opposing offenses on the field more than an average team. I get that, Kelvin, but I also understand that 3 and outs are 3 and outs, right? If you stop people on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, they'll punt for the most part, right? And we have ample opportunity for Oklahoma to do that. So that's why it doesn't necessarily wash for me. I understand that, like, for instance, in the first half, Baylor ran like 44 plays and Oklahoma ran like 28. Matter of fact, at one point, OU had scored more points than it had run plays. I get that. I understand that it's taxing. But I also understand that stopping people on 3rd down is still just stopping people on 3rd down. So if you stop them the first time they get to 3rd down, you get off the field. So let's just take a look at 3rd down, right? Let's take a look at how many attempts. Baylor had 20 3rd down attempts, converted 9 of them. So that's a little less than 50%, right? That's like 45%. That's too high for me, right? You get people in 3rd down situations, you need to stop them, right? And they averaged 8.5 to go. So they're converting 3rd and long. So if you're converting 3rd and long, little less than half the time, as an offensive coordinator, you're going to take that. You're going to take that and run with it. So 3rd and shorts, they were 5 of 5, right? Baylor, this is. How many 3rd downs did OU have? 8. Because the offense scores so quickly. I just wanted to throw that out there. But, Baylor was also 9 of 12 on 3rd down passing. Like, the 3rd down numbers are not good from a statistical standpoint for Oklahoma. Those are things that you just have to change. You got to be better. Flat out, you got to be better. Let me see, Tim. I think you misunderstood a little. I don't think that was good enough for the defense. OU can and should be better. I did misunderstand, and I appreciate you clarifying that. With a $5 super chat, too. Appreciate that. Tim Bailey also says, but I don't think they are far from putting it all together. I'm concerned about the lack of depth, though. I thought we'd finally have better depth. I think there is better depth on the defense because they're rotating guys in, right? And I think you can see that in the secondary. They're talented. They're just not experienced. And at linebacker, anybody who doesn't think that OU is better at linebacker than it has been in like 4 years is just hasn't watched the games. Kenneth Murray Jr. as a true sophomore is your best linebacker, period, right? Curtis Bolton took 4 years, but he's developed into your second best defender. Your best defenders are both linebackers, right? So in the middle of the defense, running that 4-2-5, you look fine. When you go to 3-man fronts, you also go to a 50 front now, which I adore. I like that. And he's usually bringing 6 when they go to a 50 front, which is something that, as an offensive coordinator, you might put that in your back pocket. But I'm not so sure that it's the lack of depth anymore. I just don't think that they're doing what they need to do. They have the talent to stop people. We've seen plays all day today that we thought were flash plays. Like Trey Brown should have had a pick 6 to the house in the first half, right? And if Robert Barnes doesn't get his grits cooked against Chris Platt, I might be inclined to say that the free safeties together, him and Khalil Houghton, played well. Khalil Houghton had double-digit tackles and a forced fumble, right? You're just not getting stops. And that's the defense. That doesn't have anything to do with the offense. Get stops, right? Let's see, will Texas be the best defense we see through Big 12 play? No. TCU and West Virginia play pretty good defense, but Texas is up there. Like, I would actually say those are the top 3 defenses in the league, right? Texas, TCU, and West Virginia, depending on the day of the week and depending on who they're playing. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Doc? I see you, fam. Daniel Lundstrom. Parnell Motley needs to chill with the personal fouls. No, he doesn't. And it was an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. It wasn't a personal foul. Number one, Orlando Brown used to pick those up regularly. Nobody was up in arms about him. Bobby Evans did it earlier this year. I don't care that you're getting a personal, now you got me saying a personal foul. I don't care that you're getting an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty if you're being chippy and you're trying to get in somebody's grill to let them know that it's not going to be an easy day out here. And that's what he's doing with Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims, 2 plays before, was jawing with Curtis Bolton. And so much so that JaMychal Hasty pushed Denzel Mims back because he didn't want him to get a flag on him. And then Parnell Motley, for the most part, tried to go to work. Didn't always work. He's playing the scheme, right? I didn't see him missing assignments. He's just doing what he's asked to do. Now, you want to talk about somebody who might not have been doing everything that they were asked to do, you can talk about Trey Norwood. Because Trey Brown was out there showing him up, you know? So I don't, that doesn't bother me. And I get that it bothers some people because between that and the roughing the passer call that was really, really, really soft and unwarranted against Neville Gallimore, where he belly bumped Charlie Brewer, that's the only time they scored 6 in the first half, right? And then the defense, the defense gave up too many points in the second half of the game, right? And you could say that they're tired, okay, to which I would say condition more, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to stop people on third down. That's your job. Especially if we're going to do this bend, don't break defense that folks think is okay in the Big 12. Let's see. What else we got here? Laura says, OU also gave up some of those third down situations due to penalties. No bueno. It's true. We have more points now than plays. Yeah, and that's all well and good in non-conference play and in Big 12 play. But having the offense being able to drop 50 on people, we know they can do. They basically dropped 50 on Georgia. We know that you can do that. What we don't know is that the defense can hold up its end because they're going to play better football teams than Baylor down the road. One of those teams is playing next week, Texas, right? And we know how much Texas wants to scout. And we also know that this is our conference. So something on that third down needs to get cleaned up because it wasn't missed tackles today. It was just Baylor getting to the first down marker. Bring back Monty. We all loved us some Jerry Montgomery, that's for sure. Yelling yo answer me does not work. Matter of fact, it gets you hidden. Let's see. Corey Mitchell. I mean, the college football playoff is probably going to have a Big Ten this year, so don't care about Penn State or Ohio State, but Notre Dame losing would be great. First of all, look, Notre Dame basically plays in the ACC. Second of all, I care about Ohio State and Penn State because I don't think Penn State's very good, you know. And I also watched Ohio State need to have a miracle third quarter to beat TCU. And I'm not so sure that there's going to guarantee be a Big Ten representative in the college football playoff because that hasn't always been true either. You know, I think you can guarantee there's going to be an SEC team, right? But I think the ACC and the Big Ten have the same chance of getting in there as the Big 12 does. And by the Big 12, I mean Oklahoma. Because, I mean, I believe I'm correct in saying it's just OU and West Virginia who are undefeated in the conference. And West Virginia knows that they have to beat OU. So I don't, yeah. I care is what I'm saying. I wanted to watch that game. And I'm going to watch that game after the stream ends because I care. Let's see. Lots of Motley bashing in here. Okay. Who you going to play? Trey? You going to play Trey at both positions? Trey Brown at both positions? That what you're going to do? Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me who you're going to run out there instead of Parnell Motley. Because as bad as he might look to you, I can't tell you it's going to get better if you take him off the field. What are you going to do? You going to move Buki over there? Okay, who's your nickel safety? You just going to run Pat Fields all day, every day? Come on, man. You got to think that through. You only got so many bodies over there. Curtis Kid 12. What up, RJ? Love what you do. Same here, late, and you may have answered this, but do you think Brooks did enough to challenge Sermon for RB1? I think he did, and that's a good point. 8 carries for 107 yards. I mean, chunk plays. I think it has to be considered at this point. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I think it's obviously on Jay Boulware's brain, and it's probably on Lincoln Riley's brain. It's just about, is he the kind of pass catcher out of the backfield? Because the thing that Trey Sermon did well today was catch a ball and go 51 yards with it, basically just running people over. I haven't seen that from Kennedy Brooks yet, but I have seen him in the open field. So we'll see is my answer to that question. But I do think that he's done enough to at least warrant the opportunity should they want to give it to him. It wouldn't feel like it's coming out of left field, right? To give TJ Pledger that job right now would feel like it's coming out of left field. I haven't seen Marcellus Sutton in 2 straight games. So I think it's Sermon and Brooks at this point. West Virginia almost choked. Yeah, so did OU last week against Army. Let's not throw stones over there. Let's not do that. I'm of the opinion we will continue to think. Excuse me, Corey Mitchell. I'm of the opinion we will continue to think that we will still have a committee of running backs. It's just a matter of figuring out who has the hot hand from week to week. We said that until Rodney Anderson did what he did in October against Kansas State. Right? I think that I think that Lincoln Riley wants to have a feature back the same way that he has a number 1 quarterback. I don't think he likes having a running back by committee. I think he likes being able to tell a guy, you're the guy, go do the work. So I think that we're still waiting on whoever that is to show up. Might be Sermon, might be Brooks, might be Sutton, might be Pledger. But whoever it is, we're going to be okay. See, right before a half, why didn't Lincoln run the clock out with the substitution rule? I mean, maybe because he's up 28-6. Does it matter? Not really. Let's see. CD Tollison. RJ, is the lack of D-line penetration scheme or lack of physical strength? It's scheme. They mush rush. They catch guys so that the linebackers stay clean. Like Kenneth Murray Jr. said it when on Twitter with his Defensive Player of the Week comment, which is, shout out to my D-line who made it possible for me to make all those tackles. I had 28 last week, which we come to find out is the FBS record. They're taught, keep the linebackers clean to go make plays. And that's been a Mike Stoops staple. He did that with Tony Jefferson when Tony Jefferson was playing Buki's position. Just funnel everything to Tony. You can do that if you're teaching the defensive lineman to mush rush and to catch, but it also makes it really difficult to recruit the kind of defensive linemen that fans want, which are the guys that go to Clemson, guys go to Bama, who get told, no, I don't care that you keep people clean to make plays. I want you to go make plays. You split people. You go get them. It's a hard thing to recruit if kids see the film and say, wait, I'm not the star? That's a hard thing to recruit. Excuse me, I'm sorry. What do we got? By the way, me editing the on-demand video for the recap was a bear because I'm like coughing, having to cut it out, coughing, having to cut it out. It's bad. So maybe you won't be able to see that when you watch the on-demand video where I got skull dragged into the title. Alabama will win the Natty this season. I mean, so like is that all you have to say about that? Number one, because they haven't already. Number two, I mean, most people pick Alabama who don't even watch college football. That's not a good take because it's a vanilla take. It's a vanilla take because the odds say that Alabama is going to win the national championship. Otherwise, why would you say that? If you like college football, why would you say that? Because you obviously don't want to watch the games, right? If you think that Alabama's going to win the national championship, then go watch a sport where you don't think that that's going to be decided because you're wasting your time. That's a terrible thing to say out loud. It's like saying Oklahoma's going to win the national championship. I mean, we all want that to be true, or at least most of the people in chat want that to be true, but we're not so arrogant or so not enthralled with college football that we would say that. The fun is watching the games. The fun is watching who upsets who. So if you're going to come in here and just say that Alabama is going to win a national championship, at least throw something else in there, like, I don't know, their middle linebacker will win the Heisman Trophy, right? Or say something smart about Tua Tagovailoa. Don't just drop in here that somebody's going to win a national championship who was favored to win a national championship. Why do you hate college football? Let me see what else we got in here. Stanford ties up. Well, we got score updates in here. What? Watch Tua get hurt and y'all lose a few games. I don't think so. That's one of the reasons that Nick Saban burnt Jalen Hurts' red shirt up today, up 28-0 to La Tech. They'll be fine if Tua gets hurt. Because Jalen Hurts, despite what people at least, I don't know what people think, because Jalen Hurts is the reason they played in a national championship game last year. It wasn't Tua. Tua wasn't that good, actually. He played in 8 games. Wasn't that good. Right? I mean, how do people just forget that Jalen Hurts was the guy? And if not for him, Alabama doesn't play in a national championship game. So if Tua gets hurt, just give it back to the guy that got them to the national championship game? No, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. The only team on their schedule left that I think could beat them is LSU, and that's because the defense is really good. What else we got? Excuse me. What recruits did we have there, and what do you think they took away from this experience? That information is on the board at ouinsider.com. I generally don't talk about it on Saturdays because people pay for that information on Saturdays, and we can talk about it after the fact. But there's lots of recruits on Twitter. There's lots of guys that said they were coming to the game. There's lots of guys that had a good time. But, you know, if they're coming to the game and they saw this game and we win 66-33, I would assume they had a good time, fam. I get where you're going with that, Jeff, but come on, man. You can go to the board. Let's see. What else we got in here? How do you think OU did defensive-wise? I spent the first half of the show talking about that, fam. Raw material. I got to go watch Penn game out early. All right, appreciate that. Did Mike suck today, in your opinion? I mean, no more than he sucked last week, or the week before, or the week before, or the week before. Like, I don't know how to better say this. He's the same guy. He's the same guy he was last year. He's the same guy he was the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. We thought something would change because introducing a new scheme, 4-2-5, as a base, especially against spread teams. You know, we thought something would change because the 2018 class is very talented, and those kids that are playing right away are contributing right away. But the results look the same, man. You know, you're giving up points. You're giving up too many points. You're not forcing turnovers. You're not getting takeaways. You're not getting interceptions when they matter. Didn't have an interception at all today, right? I mean, it's the same defense. And maybe that defense was good enough to beat Georgia last year and just didn't. And maybe that defense is good enough to win a national championship this year and can. We'll see. But I haven't seen anything out here that makes me believe that OU's defense is just gotten that much better. I gave my criteria. They didn't meet any one of them. That was the thing. You could have met any one of those criteria, and I would have said today that Baylor, the team that played Baylor was better. All you had to do was either 1, hold them to under 21 points, 2, hold them to under 400 yards total offense, or 3, get 3 turnovers. Defense didn't do any one of those 3. Gave up 33 points. Gave up 400 yards passing. I mean, how many takeaways? None. Had a forced fumble. It's the same defense, man. You know? And me yelling that it's the same defense doesn't change that it's the same defense. Just Dustin, why are you guys so mean to Baylor? Damn. Well, number one, that game was too close last year. Number two, if you watch the game, you see Baylor was dirty and John at our house. Nah, man. Nah, man. What else we got? Trapper's over here giving me the offensive stats like I don't know. Brown got close to an INT. Yeah, and he should have pulled it in. And, you know, as good as Trey Brown was today, he proved why he plays DB and not wideout. You got to catch that. It was in his hands. Got to catch that. Acting crabby. I'm genuinely crabby. Joshua Simmons, yeah, I don't think I disagree. I shouldn't have said easily because the reference screwed us a lot. Yeah, there were a couple questionable calls. However, that ref did look like he came from Ed Hockley's weight room. Just cock diesel, just all in it. Yeah, it's like he was flexing on it when he was giving his signals, man. Stephen Gordon, are you worried about the Texas game, RJ, who's the leader for the Heisman? No. And probably Tua is the leader for the Heisman Trophy. Right? Kyler would be second. Will Grier would be third. Just because people have a hard time putting anything in front of Alabama at any way. Except we did see a couple weeks ago that Kyler Murray was the front runner. But I don't think that Alabama played anybody that week either. Well, they didn't play anybody this week either. So it could be Kyler. But it's going to be Kyler or Tua going into October. Alabama hasn't played any decent teams yet. Well, that's because they come from the Baylor School of Scheduling. We schedule one okay team, Louisville, and then nobody. And then we say that our conference is strong enough for us to have an argument to be in the college football playoff. And you know what? It works for them because they didn't play for a conference championship last year. They didn't win their division last year. Still made the playoff, still won the national championship. Love what Army did today. Yeah, they look good. Playing Buffalo. Buffalo ain't good. But certainly a good Army team helps our resume. Yeah, absolutely. Good point, Terry. Let me see. Clemson doesn't make the playoffs now. I don't know, man. I think if they win the ACC and they stay undefeated, they make the playoffs. I don't see another way. Because they'd have to play Miami and Notre Dame. I think they'd be okay. Let's see. Something about Deshaun White. Deshaun White's not going to play because Kenneth Murray Jr.'s lights out. It's not even, you'd love to see him. But you can't take Kenneth Murray Jr. off the field. That's the best player on the team so far this year. Like on the defensive side of the ball, it's him. You can make an argument that it's also Bolton, but it's him. And Deshaun White plays Kenneth Murray Jr.'s position, not Curtis Bolton's position. I'd love to see Deshaun White. Great linebacker. I enjoy him. Had him on the show. I can't take Kenneth Murray Jr. off the field. Let's see what we got. Ryan Smart. I see a lot of poor fundamental football on defense. Poor pursuit angles, poor leverage, tackling sucks, corners in position to make plays, find the ball and make them. I see some of that. I don't see all of that. What's the super chat? Ryan Baldwin. Thanks for playing. Heard RJ. What you do enhances my college football season experience. I appreciate that, Ryan. I'm here because it's fun. Honestly, it's fun. For those of you that don't know, so coming up like a year. I want to say October 1 will be a year that I've been doing this daily, right? And we've been live streaming on a regular schedule. And I haven't always been healthy like this. But this is fun. And I'm doing it because I like to do it. And there's this community, most of y'all, that is built around it. So we're having a good time talking about college football, talking about OU 90% of the time, some Thunder, some other college football. And now that Baker's doing what Baker does, we talk a little Cleveland Browns, we talk a little NFL. But yeah, man, I'm here because of y'all, because of me, because we're having a good time. So I appreciate you saying so. Let's see, what else we got? Are our wide receivers better than West Virginia's? You mean like across the board? Yeah, well, I guess. I don't know why why are we asking that question exactly? Because, I mean, I could put David Sills up against Hollywood Brown. A lot of people would say David Sills is better. I could put Sims up against CeeDee Lamb. A lot of people would say CeeDee is better. I mean, doesn't matter. K9 missed some bad tackles today. He also had 17. All right, Tim. I mean, he had missed tackles when he had 28 last week. Who are you gonna play? You gonna play Deshaun White because K9 missed what? Call it 10. Call it 10 tackles. You gonna play Deshaun White because K9 missed 10 tackles? I don't think you are. I don't think you are. For two reasons. One, he is the captain of your defense. He's the alpha dog. Everybody genuflects to him. You take him off the field, the defense takes on a different identity and not one that you like. So it's not just about whether or not he can make tackles. It's not like playing corner. It's not like playing safety. It's not like playing on the defensive line. He's the mic. You gonna move the mic? And you're gonna tell me about another mic that doesn't have missed tackles? Even bad missed tackles? Come on, man. Come on, come stronger than that. You can. I know you can. Talked about that earlier, Joshua Webb. Let's see. Bama's schedule is trash. Bama's schedule's been trash for like 10 years. You know who doesn't care? The College Football Playoff Selection Committee. They don't care. Otis Fleener, what's up with Draper? Very good question, because he's healthy and he's playing. He's practicing. Right? What is up with Draper? I'd like to see Levi Draper. I think Levi Draper can play. Let's see. What Doc say? Oh, they're having their own argument. I'm gonna stay out of that. Let's see. What else we got in here? What does Robert Lane? Shout out to Steven and prayer. Stay strong. Amen. For those of you that don't know, Steven is battling cancer. He loves the channel. He's on Twitter all the time. He's on the channel all the time. He hardly ever misses a live stream. He's always in the comments section. We all really enjoy him. David Hicks, am I just being picky, or does Buki not wrap up and not go hard every play? It seems he likes to lay on plays. He goes hard every play, but he doesn't wrap up every play. Like, I see him around the ball all the time. But you're right to say that he's shoulder tackling people. He doesn't actually wrap his arms around people and put them on the ground. You're also right to say that he's 5'10", 180, playing safety. I would have much rather seen him play his natural position of corner, but apparently that would mean that Ryan Jones has to move back to safety, and they're not ready to do that. They'd much rather have Buki play nickel safety. So here he's a safety, even though he's been a corner his whole life. Kid might be playing out of position. Nobody really wants to have that conversation, though. Yeah, I think Buki's living up to the hype. He's a freshman, just like Ronnie Perkins. Right? I mean, yeah. That's not a fifth-year senior. You know, that's not a guy that's looking to go to the NFL next year. He's playing fine. Buki is too small. Got to get in the weight room. We said that about Trey Norwood, and all Trey Norwood did was make one of the best defensive plays all year against Georgia. Jacob Franklin. They didn't show replays of that play where Buki jumped the route and almost made a pick six. Did it go through his hands, or was it just step late? I couldn't tell. I don't either, because they didn't show the replay. What else? I missed. Let me see. See, Terry Becker says tonight you need a hottie toddy. I'm sure Laurel is probably taking notes because she's been putting up with me being sick all week, and she's also sick. Probably my fault. And when you see her, ask her about how she lost the fight with a bookcase. Let's see. Benny Snell for Heisman. Why? Kentucky ain't good. And he ain't that good. Where does that take come from? Did you not see the guy in the OU jersey with the one on that goes 17 and 21 for like 432 and 7 TDs? Sit down. Brady Gill. How long is Q Overton going to be out? They said a couple weeks ago. I mean, he's supposed to have been basically 90% ready to go today. So it might be just they decided not to play him. That doesn't seem to cross people's minds when it comes back to guys not having played in a few weeks. Like they can just get back on the horse and just go. Also depends on what kind of practice week he had. And I don't know about you, but everybody I know that's had an appendectomy, it ain't been a real swift recovery. It actually is like they actually cut a hole in your side and took something out. I'm going to give Q Overton a pass. Let me see. Hank, what's good? Will the 100-plus defensive plays help or hurt against Texas? No more than the flexbone offense that they saw against Army will hurt. Come on, man. I mean, you know what you're doing. You know you have 6 straight games. You know that. Like, why are we worried about them being exhausted? If they're exhausted, then we got to go talk to Benny Wiley. Because you know what the schedule is. You know who's on your schedule. And you know what kind of shape you need to be in to play defensive football in the Big 12. This is not new. There are no excuses for being exhausted. Not when you're supposed to be conditioning all off season. And to that point, you're not playing 100 plays if you get stops on third down. You're not. They gave up 45%. They gave up way too many third down conversions. And they did the same thing against Army. So if you want to get off the field and not get exhausted, stop people on third and long. Stop people on third and short too. But we'll forgive third and short. Anything that's 8 yards or more, that needs to be a stop. No, I'm not buying that, fam. Wolfie, I'd love to see a true 4-man front neck. We saw a true 4-man front. We saw Mark Jackson, who's one of the best edge rushers on the team. We saw Gallimore, we saw Bledsoe, and we saw Perkins. We saw that a lot today. We've seen that a lot all year. The defense is still average, you know? And when they don't run a true 4-man front, we've seen less 3-man fronts and more 50 fronts, which is 3 men with their hands on the ground and 2 outside linebackers standing on the line of scrimmage, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I certainly like it better than dropping 8 in the coverage. But I take your point about wanting to see guys pin back their ears and go get quarterbacks. That's also just not what the scheme is, right? The scheme doesn't always call for that. The scheme calls for them to catch offensive linemen and let the linebackers make plays. Excuse me. Yeah, Robert, I know Q played today, but I'm making people look it up. Let me see. Hey, DJ. DJ? Who's DJ? I don't know DJ. Of the freshmen so far, who has lived up to recruiting star hype? Ronnie Perkins, Buki. Those are the guys. TJ Pledger, when he's been out there, has looked okay. Look, what are you expecting to get out of a 4 or 5-star recruit? Honestly, I don't expect them to come in and do what Kyler Murray's doing, because people forget he won the world beater at A&M, and he was one of the most highly touted quarterbacks of all time. I expect freshmen to play like freshmen. If they're 4-star or 5-star freshmen, that means they're playing. Like, I would be more concerned about the freshmen if they're not playing, right? If you're a 5-star kid and you're not getting onto the field, whether it be special teams or otherwise, then I worry. But I don't expect a 5-star freshman or a 4-star freshman to be as good as a second or third year player who might have had 3 stars. So people who are comparing Ronnie Perkins to Kenneth Mann have it twisted. Kenneth Mann's been in the system. He's had time to grow, and he has. That's a 3-star defensive end who has turned into one of your best defensive ends, one of your best defensive linemen. And that's what Ronnie Perkins is chasing. It's not fair to say to a freshman, go be a world beater. No. Go get on the field, because that's too hard as it is. Right? Now it's easier now because of the 4-game rule, but it's still 4 games. It doesn't make you a starter. Buki beat people. Right? I mean, that's the way you have to look at it. Because if they can move Justin Broyles, they can move Khalil Houghton, or they can move Jordan Parker, I think they would. So, yes, the freshmen are living up to the hype, the ones that are playing. And the guys like Deshaun White, circumstance. The guy in front of you is the best that we have. It's not that you're bad, it's that he's that good. And I think that's the way you have to look at freshmen, especially highly touted Army All-Americans. Let's see. What else we got? Sean Stapleton. Buki's playing early because view of OU defenses freshmen don't play. That has now changed. Hope it's so. I don't think you're going to play Buki early because you want to change optics. I wouldn't do that. And I don't expect Mike would do that either. Disinfect your microphone. Mom, you're welcome to disinfect my microphone. What else, guys? Really wish Michael Thompson Jr. didn't get hurt. Yeah, I think that's valid. Really wish Starlin Baldwin didn't get hurt. Chance Sylvie didn't get hurt. Prince McKinney didn't get hurt. Yeah. Delarian Turner Yell didn't have a leg injury. I wish they were all healthy because I think they all could contribute. Matt Rhule says it's harder to win in Norman than it is at the Masters. Respect, especially since Matt Rhule was wearing that Masters green jacket to Big 12 Media Days in July. That was my favorite coach outfit. Just dark green Masters jacket. But he's also, I think, right. I think he's right. Which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of... I like that the Bedlam game is in Norman this year. I don't like that you got to go to TCU and you got to go to Morgantown. Don't like those at all. Let's see. What else we got? Robert Lane. Shout out to Hunter. Okay. Is Hunter in here? Let's see. Daryl Senior Fields. Excuse me. Like Bob Stoops said, SEC equals 2 or 3 teams good and all else weak at the bottom. Then his Oklahoma team went and proved it. I don't know about that because I can name 4 good SEC teams right now. Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, LSU. Kentucky, sneaking up. Mississippi State, we don't know. Right? South Carolina, we don't know. Right? I mean, I think there are always going to be 4 good teams. And Alabama is going to be one of those teams. And lately it seems like Alabama and Georgia are going to be one of those teams. But it's a 12-team league where you can make an argument that every year they have at least 4 teams that are going to be ranked inside the top 10, let alone the top 25. Big 12 never gets to say that throughout the year. It's going to be Oklahoma in the top 10. Maybe TCU squeaks in there. And that's about it. Maybe Oklahoma State squeaks in there. But it won't be this year. That's why I think the SEC is separated from other conferences is because routinely throughout the year, they can say that they've had at least 4 teams inside the top 10 in the AP rankings. That's not something the Big 12 can say. It's just not. It's not something that the Big 10 can say. Because outside of Penn State, Ohio State, and possibly Michigan, I mean, you pinning your hopes and dreams on Michigan State? Probably not. Right? I don't necessarily like that the SEC is the best conference in college football, but it is true. What else got? What was that question? The 185, I made that video. What will motivate the defense going up against Texas next week? That it's Texas? If you're not going to get up for Texas, you're on the wrong football team. Full stop. You don't need any motivation for Texas. It's Texas. Like I would hope that. If that's not what gets you going, we can't. We're in a world of hurt. If we're going, what's going to motivate the defense against Texas? What else we got? James McMillan, RJ, I've been trying to get to you to give my boy Hunter a shout out all day, bro. Okay, that's Hunter. Hunter, your dad put you on blast. I got it now, Robert. It's stuck. Man, this guy is salty on the live feed. Yeah, okay, Kim. Red River Shootout. That says it all. Yeah, pretty much. I hate Texas, and I work for UT. Hank. All right, I like it. Happy Valley being given Penn State superpowers. How do you attack Texas RG defensively and offensively? They kind of, excuse me, they kind of work hand in hand. The offense isn't especially good. The defense isn't especially good. And when they're working together, they're pretty good. But attacking them is something that we'll get into in the preview video on Monday. Ryan Morwood. I hate the people who compare Baker to Johnny Manziel. They're nothing alike just because. Oh, yeah. So that's for the promo for the Sports Center thing where apparently Johnny Manziel penned a letter to Baker Mayfield about how they're different. There's a lot of OU fans that are rolling their eyes about it, and Dusty Dvorak probably spoke for most of them during the broadcast today when he was like, I don't even think Baker's going to listen to this or needs to. They're not the same. One guy isn't that good. Another guy really is that good. There is no comparison. And yet, ESPN must think there's a comparison because they're giving Johnny Manziel an opportunity to write a letter to Baker Mayfield about how they're not the same. I don't know why. I do know why. It's because Baker's getting his first start on Sunday against the Raiders at 3:05 in the afternoon. That's why they're doing it. Otherwise, Johnny Manziel would be just another quarterback in Canada. You know, I rolled my eyes at that too. I was going, what? Why? What for? You know, but folks in Oklahoma already know better. And I guess folks outside of Oklahoma don't. Let's see. Troy James, DT in the backfield, pushing Kyler out of the goal line. Yeah, Troy James has been a really great fullback, especially since he's a defensive tackle by trade. Do you think Power 5 schools should play other Power 5 schools for non-conference games? I mean, I think every fan does, but every coach ain't gonna because they don't have to. Like, I mean, it's a question about like asking, do I think that the rules should be different for players who transfer? I think every player should be able to transfer right away and go where they want to go. But that ain't what's going to happen, right? I would love it if Power 5 schools played other Power 5 schools in their non-conference. But also, some of those Power 5 schools are Kansas in 2017. You know, some of those Power 5 schools are just garbage football teams. And I don't know that that's necessarily what I want either. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but we're not going to get good on good until we get into the college football playoff or we get into conference championships where it happens to be two pretty good teams, like, say, Georgia and Alabama. But that's a pipe dream for us to believe that, say, Alabama's going to schedule OU in September or Ohio State is going to schedule Alabama in September and then have a slate of those, right, where you got Ohio State playing, say, Alabama and then, say, Notre Dame and then, say, USC. They're not going to do that in the same year because it doesn't do anything for them. Because if they take the loss, it's a loss. And honestly, you're going to get beat on a lot in September, whether you win those games or not. A $2 super chat with a retracted message. Okay. That's weird. So we got time for one more question. And then we're going to do the roll call to get out of here, man. Because I know a lot of folks want to see the Penn State-Ohio State game, myself included. Let's see. Penn State pick 6. See, there it is, right there. Big touchdown, Penn State. I've seen a lot of Penn State in here. Any more questions? I'm looking for something for the question mark, man, honestly. Let's go all the way up, then. All the way up. You get enough. Apparently, they play sicko mode at Lubbock today, which I didn't know they had in them. Let's see, any more questions? One more question. I'm looking for a question mark. What's got? Nope. No questions. Lots of Penn State over Ohio State. All right. Tijuana, what excuse will Texas choose next week after the game? I don't know. Maybe it's that they only have some elite players. I'm going to ride that one all week. All right, if you're in the chat, say what's up, and I will shout you out. Steelboy was good. Corey Mitchell was good. Will Smith was good. Michael Taylor was good. Kelvin Hicks, I appreciate it. Thanks, man. I do need to get you feeling better. Vico Wagner was good. Preston Woods in the house. C.D. Tolleson in the house. Lloyd Grissom was good, fam. Wolfie. Jason Bolding, I see you, fam. Sean Stapleton's in here. Sooner Bear. Rudy Lopez. Joshua Simmons. Gutslinger was good. I know GT was in here. Sean Robertson was good. Val! Hey, Val. Val's 6th grader wrote a really cool letter that you need to check our Twitter account for. Ryan Baldwin's good. Doc! Beat Texas. Amen. Steelguard. Beat Texas. What's up? Braves look good on camera, baby. Shut that, babe. Laramie Raymond was good. See you, fam. Curtis Kidd, I'll see you. Jacob Franklin Deuces. Let's see. Fernando, I'll see you. Stephen Gordon is out. Turd Ferguson is out. D. Ken, I'll see you, fam. Will Smith is out. Let's see. Steelguard, I'll see you. Laura, I went to the farm. Terry Beckham, hottie toddy, and good night. Yes, we'll give it a shot, Terry. Rudy Lopez, I'll see you. Kennedy, I'll see you, fam. Joshua Simmons, I'll see you. Ethan Sweezy, I'll see you. Ryan Morwood is out. Richard Young is out. Bill Beach with the deuces. Jacob Franklin is already on Texas Hate Week. I like it. Carvin Jackson is already out. Hunter Woodall is out. Rod G is out. Robert Lane is out. Sean Staples is out. Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'll see you, fam. James McMillan. And shout out to Hunter again because I missed it. That's my bad, Hunter. Rachel Herrera, I see you. Frank Evans is out. What else we got? Anybody else? Let me see. Going once. Going twice. All right, that's it for me. If you like videos, like this one and subscribe to the channel because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, unless RG is ill, in which he apparently is crabby. So I apologize. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Deuces.